welcome back to another episode of Just 5 Minutes. On this show we're going to take a look at DAPR, not to be confused with DAPR, D-A-P-P-E-R, which is a great micro-ORM from the Stack Overflow guys. Worth checking out anyway, but this is actually DAPR, Distributed Application Runtime. So what is it? Okay, well, it's a portable serverless event-driven runtime that makes it easy for developers to build resilient, stateless and stateful microservices that basically run on the cloud and edge systems. But ultimately, for me, it's a very modular approach to microservices. There's lots of this stuff around. One that jumps to mind is, for me as a .NET developer, is akka.net, A-K-K-A.net. It's been around for a long time. I think Akka goes back even further from other languages as well. But basically where it gives you a framework to help you build microservices. So you can think through things yourself. You can write your own solutions with this stuff. Whether it's based on just queuing only or queue mechanisms or some other notification methods. But what DAPR gives you out of the box is, and again, it's building block type stuff, so you don't have to use all of it. But what it does give you is things like service-to-service invocation. So inter-service communication, very important, obviously. It gives you state management, again, very important to handle state if you need to across different microservices and the way that that data is immutable, perhaps, and all the rest of it. It's certainly got a pub sub or publish and subscribe component as well. It's got resource binding and triggers, which we'll talk about in a sec, and also actors. It uses the actor model, which I think warrants its own talk anyway. But that it's not really a unit of work, is it? But it gives you a very good composite sort of defined way of talking between module or functionality, I guess. So again, that's possibly something we should do as a separate show. It's got observability, of course, and also secrets, which I know a lot of these platforms give you ways of storing secrets, but this abstracts above any of the platforms. Talking of which, DAPR runs as like a sidecar process, so it's not reliant of getting into your code like through SDKs as much as it is a sidecar process. It runs basically, the protocols are HTTP and relatively recently is gRPC, which we did a little talk about the other week. So you've got two sort of protocols to communicate across microservices with, but also because it's not latched into any specific platform or language, you can use this in Node.js, Go, Python, .NET Core, whatever, Java. Recently it's got some bindings for Azure functions, which I'm very curious about, which I'll be talking about in another show. But also, of course, it's platform agnostic, so you can run this on Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Compute, whatever. It comes into Kubernetes, components and things like that in nature. So you've got all of this at your disposal. But the fact is, you can pick and choose what you want to use. For me, it's the service-to-service invocation for sure, with state management and of course pub sub, which is something that inevitably comes up. But with resource binding and triggers, you can have like DAPR will help. Say you might have a publish of one service and other services are subscribing to that. It'll handle that for you. It's very easy, very easy to get going. As I say, there are other mechanisms around like akka.net and other microservice frameworks. But this, I have to say, for me personally, because it covers all of those languages and all those frameworks, and you can just use the bits that you want to use, it's really worth having a look at. So it's definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of links in the show notes to get you a little bit further. But right now, DAPR is definitely something I'm looking at, whether it's large-scale microservice deployment or even just small applications. So until next time, that's what we've got for this week, and we'll catch you soon.